Hello, one and all present here. This is Amit Kumar Singh, and welcome everyone to my class on chemistry. In this class of chemistry, what I will talk about a very important topic of chemistry that is called matter and its composition. So, guys, so now you are all are in class 7th standard, and you are now mature enough to understand the world of science. So, when we talk about this beautiful world of science, a very important subject what we need to understand, which can bridge the gap between biology and physics, which can help us to make to realize what is happening around us when we see sometimes the sky turning into blue, or suddenly before the rain, if you see the lightning is coming. So if you want to understand the logic behind it, so the science which can help us to understand anything and everything which what is happening around us, the logic behind it, the rate of changes of the science which we can understand, and that is basically called as chemistry. So I believe you heard of something called calculus. What calculus basically do? Calculus is the branch of maths which can help us to realize the rate of changes which is happening around us. Like the same way, the logic of calculus when you put in science, that is called as chemistry. So welcome everyone to the very beautiful world of chemistry. And in that world of chemistry, what I'm going to talk about today is the matter. So when we see anything and everything around us, either we can see, seeing is not the correct word probably I can say, or I can say feel it. You want to feel it. You can feel it, you can see it, you can touch it, whatever. Either it is living or either it's a non-living, anything and everything what you can see or feel or touch around ourselves, that is basically is matter. So what is matter? When we talk about matter, matter is anything that has mass, which can occupy space, or that can be perceived by our senses. So that is basically called as matter. So matter is not only that which we can see or touch or we can feel. Matter is something which is there around us. So when we talk about the states of matter, so the state of matters can be solid, it can be liquid, it can be gas. So probably I need to introduce one more term here, that is called plasma. So when you talk about the matter, matter is basically is something which has mass, okay, which occupies space, okay, which is made of very small elements, which may be in the range of 10 to the power minus 10, 1 picometer. So which that is called as item. So matter is something which is there around us. So when we talk about matter, so probably we can spend time talking about the definition on matter. That is important for your exam preparation, guys. You need to know the definition of matter. You should know how to characterize the matter, how to talk about different states of matter. But before we go into the theoretical part of understanding the changes what is happening around us, it is very important is to realize the the society around us. It is important to understand, to feel the reaction what we can see around us, either when you burn a candle, or either for doing puja purpose, when you light and kapoor, you see some changes around you. Those changes what you can see around yourself, that is the transformation of one state of matter to the another state of matter. Okay, so when we see matter, matter is something which we can feel around us. So all the substance around us can be classified under different states of matters, and those different states of matter what we can realize around ourselves. It can be solid, or it can be liquid, or it can be gas. So probably when I talk about matter, I should talk about another type of matter, another states of matter, that is called as plasma. So plasma, discussion on plasma is not the scope of realization at this stage, because you are in class 7 standard. So probably when you grow, when you study more about physics and chemistry, you will definitely will understand the ability of how you can transform one state of matter into another state, where if you apply electromagnetic forces over gas, then how the gas can transform into an ionized form that is called as plasma. So probably let's ignore plasma for the time being. Probably let's ignore plasma for the time being, and let's only focus on three different states of matter that what we can see around us. They can be solid or liquid, or they can be gas. Okay, so how you can realize these three states of matter, either they are solid or liquid or gas. So solid, the solid substance which we can see around ourselves. Maybe the solid can be ice. You can see an ice. So this is the ice. So this is the example of solid. Okay, then when we talk about liquid, so liquid, what can be the liquid? Maybe the example of liquid, maybe suppose there's a glass is there, and this glass is filled with water. You can see this. So this is the example. The water, what you can see, that is the example of liquid. Okay, so I hope you still remember the term liquid, which is used in one movie, a very common movie. I hope you remember this movie called Pyar Ka Panchnama, where they use this term called liquid. And then the other state of matter what we can talk about is maybe if you see, suppose this is my stove, over which if I'm trying to cook a tea, I'm trying to prepare a tea, so I can see I can realize something which is going out of my beaker or my jar, that is basically called as gas. Okay, so here if you realized, we are actually talking about the transformation of a molecule, which is H2O, where the two items of hydrogen is mixed in certain manner with one item of oxygen, and then what you can see is H2O, and then that H2O is changing its form from solid to liquid to gas, or it can change its form from gas to liquid to solid. So that transformation is possible, because whenever we see matter around us, so the each matter what we can see around us, they occupy space. Okay, they have mass, they occupy space, and when we see these matters around us, what we can realize from them, that they are present in different shapes and sizes. They can be converted depending upon matter to matter. You can convert them from one form to other form, or they have their own structure. They can be transformed or they cannot be transformed. The different properties are there, where we can talk about the matters, the factors like compressibility or luster. We can talk about those properties, and by which we can divide and matter under solid, liquid, and gas. We can talk about properties like intermolecular force. We can talk about volume, fluidity, luster, or transparency. Those are the different ways of identifying or trying to make a differentiation between the different states of matter. So you can see and matter around us, and you can see the transformation. Some transformations are very random, some transformations are not easy to be done. So all that depends upon basically the three very important property what a matter can possess. So when you talk about the properties which can decide all these factors, so that the properties, when we talk about those properties, can be intermolecular force, those properties can be intermolecular force, or those properties can be intermolecular space, that those properties can be intermolecular space, or the third and very important is basically the random motion of particle. So when whatever state of matters you can see, whatever state of matter whatever the state of matter you can see, they all are made of items. So when you see the item when you see item is of size of 10 to the power minus 10. And when you see an item, these items are more or less, when you see an item, more than 99% space of the item is occupied by nucleus. So when you see a nucleus, in the nucleus you have neutron and proton, which are binded with each other with nuclear force, and around the nucleus you see electrons which are rotating over the nucleus, and where the nucleus and the electrons are bounded with each other with electromagnetic force. And so when we see an item is basically, it is made of proton, neutron, and electron. And when we bring different items together, they create molecules. And these molecules, when they arrange in and around in a matter, depending upon their force, intermolecular force between them, or the intermolecular space between them, ultimately they create an substance which we can see around us. So when we see a substance around us, every substance is made of atom, and these items, what we can see, these items these items are always in random motion of particle. These items always are always in the state of, what you can say, are always in the state of motion, because they possess kinetic energy. And because when they possess kinetic energy, they are in the stage of motion. And because when they are in different states of motion, and when we provide heat energy to them, probably that can weakens the intermolecular forces. And when that intermolecular forces get weakens with more and more temperature which can be provided over them, probably they can lose their states. So when they lose their state, probably we say that they may transform from solid to liquid, and liquid can be transformed to gas, or like that. Or we can say that gas can be transformed to liquid, or liquid can be transformed to solid, depending upon temperature. So if you give temperature, if you increase the temperature on the solid, it may turn into a liquid. And if you further increase the temperature, then it may or may not turn into a gas. So similarly, if you have a gas, and if you start decreasing the temperature, then it can turn into a liquid, or further decrease in temperature can make them to turn into a solid. So always remember that when solid is turned into liquid and liquid is turned into gas, then always remember that heat energy is absorbed in that case. So probably when I talk about the conversion, probably when I talk about a conversion of a solid to a liquid, or a liquid to a gas. So because everything we talk in the term of heat energy, so here the heat energy is absorbed. So here when we talk about this case, here the heat energy is absorbed. So here the heat energy is absorbed. While when we talk about the case where probably if a gas is converted into liquid, or a liquid is converted into solid. So in this case, when we talk about this case, in this case, probably the heat energy is released. So in this case, when we talk about, so here the heat energy is evolved or released. Okay, so you can remember this. So this is the ideal way of conversion. So we expect a solid to be first converted into liquid, and then a liquid can be converted into gas. But sometimes we have seen cases where some examples where solid can directly has converted into gas. So this process is called as sublimation. This process is called as sublimation. So the process of direct conversion of a solid to a gas is called as sublimation. And as for example, you know that for puja purpose, if you burn a kapoor, so the kapoor is a solid, and when you burn it, it actually turn into gas. So the example can be kapoor, or naphthalene, or iodine crystal, or ammonium chloride. So they can be the good example of sublimation. So whenever you talk about sublimation, you can give these as an example. So whenever we see matters around us, so whenever we talk about the matter around us, matters can be solid, or it can be liquid, or a matter can be gas. So when we talk about a matter, so matter occupies space and they have a mass. So what is basically a mass? When I talk about what is basically a mass, So what is basically mass? So mass is the quantity of matter that the body contains. So what is basically a mass? When I talk about mass, what is basically a mass? So mass is basically, it is the quantity of matter. It is the quantity of a matter. It is basically the quantity of matter that a that a body contains. That a body contains. That is basically called as mass. Okay, so mass remain constant. So mass of a body is remain constant. It doesn't matter you're sitting in Earth or you're sitting in Jupiter, your mass will not change. But there's something called weight which will change. So weight is basically the force by which the Earth gravity attracts any objects. So that is basically called as weight. So weight is basically the force. The unit of weight is basically Newton, the SI unit. Okay, so where when we talk about mass, the unit of mass is in kg. Okay, so when we talk about mass is the quantity by which a body contains. So what is the quantity which a body contains? That is a mass, and your mass remain constant. Your weight changes. So your weight changes. This question is also there. So this question is also there to discuss. So this question is also there to discuss. 1 minute. Hmm. So when you can see this question, if I ask you define matter, so you can see this question. So if I ask you this question, define matter. So matter is the quantity. What is, if I ask you what is matter? So what is basically matter? So matter is anything that has a mass which occupies space and that can be perceived by your senses. So it's not like you need to see or you need to touch anything to realize it is a matter. So if you can feel it, then also it is a matter. Then if I ask you what is the difference between mass and weight, so what is mass? So mass is basically the quantity of matter that a body contains, while weight is the force by which the earth attracts any object, that is called as weight. Now if I talk a question number third, that if an object weighs 6 Newton on earth, so what will be its weight on moon? So probably, so when you talk about the gravity of moon, that is 1/6 of the earth. So the weight of that object on moon would be 1 Newton. So what will be the change in the mass? So there will not be any change in mass. Okay, so you need to understand these things. Now if I see this question number 4, so question number 4 is like this. So write your observation and conclusion for the following. So when few marbles are put in a glass half filled with water, so what will happen if there's a glass which is half filled with water? So if you put few marbles into that glass, so what will happen? So automatically the level of water in the marble will increase. Okay, why that happens? It happens because the marble occupies a space, because you know that anything and everything what is there around us occupies a space. So imagine you have a glass which is filled with water, so you can measure the level of water. You use a measuring parameter and measure the level of water in the glass, and then put marbles. So when you put marbles, you know the Archimedes principle. So when you put marbles in the glass, so automatically the level of water will increase because marble occupies space. Okay. Now the next thing is that ice kept at room temperature. So if you keep a ice at the room temperature, what will happen? The ice will change its state from the solid to the liquid. Because what will happen? When you keep a ice at a room temperature, so automatically you know that the temperature of at a room temperature, you know that the temperature would be higher than the temperature normally what you see when you keep a ice in the fridge. So when you give more temperature and to a object which is in solid state like ice, you know that the items in the ice, they are always in the random motion. And when the temperature is given to them, because you are changing a temperature from T1 to T2, where probably T2 is greater than T1, definitely that increasing temperature will give more kinetic energy to the particles, and when that kinetic energy would be given to the particles, with that kinetic energy they'll start they'll start vibrating at the highest speed, and that will lead to collision. And because of collision, the intermolecular force will get weakened, the intermolecular space will increase, and then that will make it to change state from the solid to liquid. Okay. Now the next question is that state three main characteristic of particles of matter. So when you talk about the particles of matter, so basically when you talk about the characteristic of matters, so what are the characteristic of matter? So matter has a volume, it has mass, it has weight. Okay, so when you talk about matter, a matter can neither be created or neither it can be destroyed. A matter occupies space. Okay, and every matter is made of very small particles, which is called as items. And an item is made of even further smaller particles, which is basically the subsets of proton, neutron, and electron. Okay, when we see the inner composition of an item. Okay, now next question is the differentiate between item and a molecule. So the when you talk about item and a molecule, the item is the smallest part of an element, and when you bring items of same particles or different particles together, so you can create a molecule. Like when you talk about water, H2O, so you are bringing two items of hydrogen with one item of oxygen, so that is a molecule. Okay. So then the next question, question number 7, define solid, liquid, and gas. So when we talk about defining in solid, liquid, and gas, so what is basically solid? A solid is that state of matter which has fixed shape, mass, and volume. So when we talk about solid, solid have a fixed shape, they have mass, they have volume. Fine. When you talk about solid, in the case of solid, the intermolecular force between the particles are very high, and because their intermolecular force are very high, so the intermolecular space between the particle is very less in the case of solid. So a solid have a fixed shape when you talk about solid. Okay, then when you talk about liquid, a liquid can have definite mass and volume, but they lack shape. So a liquid, you put liquid into any solid container, it will take its shape. So that is basically a liquid. So as compared to solid, in the case of liquid, the intermolecular space is more, and you can say that the intermolecular force between the particles are less. Then when we talk about gas, a gas is that state of matter which has only a definite mass, but it does not have a definite shape and volume. So it can take the shape of anything. So when we talk about gas, many people don't realize that gas have a mass, and gas occupies space. So if you really want to measure uh, the 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 logic that the gas have a mass, so if you really want to prove this, that the gas have mass, so if you want to prove that, so like if I ask you, can you prove, suppose if I ask you, uh, can you prove can you prove that, if I ask you, can you prove that gas has a mass? So if I ask you, can you prove that gas has a mass? So for that, what you do? So for that, what you do? Take a value. Suppose two values. Take two values. Okay. So if you see two values, maybe they're like this. You can see a value like this. So I'm not good with drawing. So suppose if I see a value is like this something. So you take two value. So then what you do? Start filling air into that. Start filling air into balloon. So if you start filling air into a balloon, what will happen? So the balloon will, the size of the balloon will increase. So with that you can understand that how that size is increased, because you are inserting something which you can't see, but there is something which you are putting into that balloon, and because of which the balloon size has increased. So you have two balloons. Suppose you have these two balloons. Now what you can do, you can put these two balloons, you can take, maybe suppose, maybe you take what you say, something, a wooden stick, and put those two balloons on that stick. Now maybe suppose you put equal air into both the balloon. So I am assuming that both having the same mass. Okay. Now what will happen? Now if you put a wooden stick and tie a rubber band with the balloon on the two ends of the stick. Now if you hold that stick at the middle, if you hold the stick at the middle, you can see the movement of the stick. Or maybe if both balloons have equal air, then you can see that the stick would be balanced position. Now what you do, now just put an iron nail on one of the balloons so that all the air come out of the balloon. So what will happen then, if you observe what will happen, then suddenly if you see, then suddenly if you notice what will happen, then you will see that the balloon, which is still filled with air, if you see the balloon which is still filled with air, the automatically wooden stick will bend toward that side. So why that will happen? Because now the two balloons are there. One have the mass, while the other balloon does not have a mass. Because once you inserted that iron nail into that balloon, the air came out of that. So that proves that that the air has a mass. And if you want to prove that air occupies space, prove that, if I ask you, prove that air occupies space, if I ask you prove that air occupies space, if you want to prove that, so for that what you can do, you can take a glass beaker, something like this, and what you do, put water into this. Okay. Now what you do, in this glass beaker, insert a glass insert a glass so when you, inside this glass beaker, if you insert a glass, you will see air bubbles coming out of this glass beaker. So why that air bubble came out of that that uh, uh, so why that air bubble came out of that glass beaker? That is because that the glass, what you had put inside the glass beaker, that had air. And that air, when that air is put into the water, so that they will turn to change it, they will turn to come out of that beaker. And ultimately that shows that they will come out in the form of air bubble. So that bubble shows that what you have inserted inside the beaker, that created some kind of disturbance inside the glass beaker. And that disturbance uh, is reflected in the form of water bubble, which you can see, which came out of the glass. Okay. Or what you can do, you take a tissue paper, you take an empty glass like this, and you take a tissue paper and just scrabble the tissue paper, like, and then put this tissue paper inside this glass. Now put this tissue paper inside this glass. So you just 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 try to reduce, just scrabble the tissue paper, so that the tissue paper, which does not be which will very light, uh, so that it does not flow here and there. So just put that tissue paper on your arm, and just try to squeeze that tissue paper to as lesser size as you possible, and then put that tissue paper inside the glass. Now what you do, now put this glass having this tissue paper, now put this glass having this tissue paper now put this glass having this tissue paper inside this water beaker, where water is filled into that. Now if you put this glass inside this water beaker, which have tissue paper inside, here the tissue paper is there. So you will notice that if you put out the glass, and then if you touch the tissue paper, you realize that the tissue paper will not become wet. Why? Because why the tissue paper will not become wet? Because between this water and this tissue paper. Why the tissue paper will not become wet? Because between this water and the tissue paper there's an invisible substance which is present, which is called as air, so which is occupying this space. So you this shows that when you talk about air is the state of matter, and it has mass, that I proved through the balloon experiment, and then it also occupies space. So this you can prove it by this way. So this again can be an important parameter to look into from your end. Now the next question, when we talk about, is why the next question what we can talk about here is why are liquid and gases are called as fluid. So that you can think about why when we talk about this liquid and gases. So why you call liquid and gas as fluid? What is the logic behind it? So can anyone will tell me the answer for this? So why the liquid and gases are called as fluid? Can anyone think on this part? Why we call them as a fluid? What is the logic behind it? So basically, when we talk about particles, so when you talk of fluids, so fluids like liquid and gases, they can easily flow from one end to the other, any other end. So because they can be transformed very easily, depending upon where you can input them. So that's why we call them a fluid, because their ability to transform from one physical form to other physical form is very easy. That's why we call them a fluid. Now, question number 9: define interconversion. Interconversion of states of matter. So that I told you, like in this form, I have shown you with a diagram. So this interconversion of form, like of solid, liquid, and gas, that I did here. So it's very easy. And also I talked about sublimation. So it's all happens if you want to interconvert one state of matter into other state of matter. You can do it either through temperature, or you can do it either through pressure. So pressure also, you can transform one state of matter to the other state of matter. So on gas, if you bring very a very strong electromagnetic field, and you create very high pressure, then the gas transform into plasma. Or if you take the example of LPG, liquefied petroleum gas, so when you turn on the nozzle of your kitchen, your gas stove, then the pressure is released. And because when the pressure is released, then probably that liquefied petroleum gas turn into a gas, and that is very inflammable, and which can be used for the cooking purpose. So depending upon, like if you have a gold, if you see a solid gold, so if you give around more than 1000 degree temperature on the solid gold, so what will happen? It will slowly transform into a liquid gold. So why that happens? Because you know that the particles in the gold, they always in the state of motion. They always have possess kinetic energy, and when temperature is given to that, so their ability to collide with each other will increase, and that will decrease the intermolecular force between them, and ultimately that make it to turn into a liquid form. Okay. Now, then why do solid, liquid, and gas differ in their physical state? So why do they differ in the physical state? It depends upon the intermolecular force and the the intermolecular space between the particles. So it depends why they are present in a different physical state. It totally depends upon their intermolecular force and the intermolecular space between them. So under what condition do solid, liquid, and gas changes is their state? Already I have answered this. Now give reason. When a stone is dipped in a glass containing some water, then the level of water rises. Okay, but when a spoon of sugar is added to it and still the water level does not rise. It is very good question, guys. like suppose if I talk about this, suppose if I talk about a case, like imagine I have a glass, imagine I have a glass filled with water. Imagine I have glass which is filled with water. So imagine I have glass which is filled with water. Inside this glass, what I did, I put sugar. So inside this glass, I put sugar. So sugar C12H22O11. So if I put sugar inside the glass which is filled with water, and if I turned it, if I stir with the spoon, then after that, if I see the level of water, it will not change. So why it does not change? Because you have to understand where you're putting the sugar. You're putting a sugar inside a liquid, and when you talk about liquid, in the case of liquid like water, the, the intermolecular space between different particles in a liquid is comparatively higher. Inside that, the smaller items of sugar probably can insert into that space of the liquid, and that way it does not change the shape of the liquid. So you know that the intermolecular space is comparatively more in liquid, and in those spaces, the elements of sugar get adjusted themselves into those space. So ultimately, that will not create any change in the level of water in the beaker or a glass. And that's why you don't see any change in the water level. If you see a glass which is filled with water, and if you insert sugar into that and you stir it, there will not be any change in the water level. Okay. Then the next question is that if a drop of ink is added to the water in the glass, uh, turn the whole water blue. So this actually happens because the reason that the when you see that the particles, what we see, they are always in the state of motion. With the particles, when you whatever the elements we see, the particles in the elements, they always are in the random motion. They are always in the state of random motion. And when you drop a when you drop a small droplet of ink into the water, that will what that will happen, that shows the transformation, or the ability of the ink items to quickly disperse into the intermolecular space of water. And because that happens because of the continuous motion of the particles of ink, and that will gradually will occupy the space in the water, and that way that movement you can easily visible because of the color. So that happens because of the color. Okay, so when we see the particles, they're always in the continuous random motion, and due to the motion, the blue colored particle of the ink is spread all over and gives blue color to the water. Okay, then fill in the blanks are there which you can easily solve. So air is the matter because it has mass, and it occupies space, and it can be compressed. Okay, the molecules are made of items. The quantity of matter in an object is called as mass. Okay, then the state of matter with definite volume and definite shape is called as solid. Okay, then the substance which can flow are called as fluid. Already you know that question, that why liquid and gas are called as fluid. Okay, then name the term of the following: the change of solid, then the change of solid into liquid. So what you call that? That is called as melting. Okay. Then the next question: the force of attraction between the molecules of a matter, that is called as intermolecular force of attraction. Third one: the particles of matter which may or may not have an independent existence. So that is called as solid. Okay. Then the next question: the process due to which a solid actually change into vapor, that is called sublimation. I told you the example of sublimation can be ammonium chloride or naphthalene or kapoor. Okay, the change of vapor into liquid, that is called as condensation. Okay, fine. So then last question is very easy. Classify the following into solid, liquid, and gas. So coal is a solid, then kerosene is a liquid, then wood is a solid, oxygen is a gas, sugar is a solid, then blood is a liquid, water is a liquid, water vapor, sorry, water vapor is gas, milk is liquid, wax is a solid. Clear. So I hope so. These are the questions which were given in ICCC board. So this textbook of ICCC that we have discussed. So more or less in this subject, Carl, in this subject we have discussed more or less all the required content. So I hope you have understood what all we have discussed, till now. So basically, this is the first chapter of chemistry. Uh, that is your matter and its composition. So when we talk about matter, when we talk about matter, so what is basically a matter? Matter is anything which has mass, which occupies space, and which can be perceived by your senses. A matter is made of atoms and molecules. Okay, and atoms are the smallest particle of matter. So when we talk about items, when you bring different items together, that will create a molecule. And when we see the molecule and the item, they always are in the random motion. And when you see an item or molecule inside a matter, they are always in the random motion. And there is a force by which one item is attracted or attached with the other item, and that force is called intermolecular force. Higher is the intermolecular force, lesser is the intermolecular space between the different matter. And this pattern of intermolecular force and the intermolecular space will give the state to the matter. So that the states of matter, it can be solid, or it can be liquid, or it can be gas. So I hope you understood what all which need to be discussed in this subject called matter and its composition. So it is the first chapter in chemistry. So I have started my class with this very important unit, which is basically the understanding of matters around us. And in that we have studied the very important chapter, and that chapter is matter and its composition. So guys, I really wish that you have enjoyed this session and you had learned something from this session. So the idea of delivering this class is to make sure that you come out to learn something from the class. So that is something which is very important. So with that intention, that you have understood whatever I have discussed. So it's time for me to wind up the class. So in case if you have any doubt, you can uh, ask your doubt to me in this mail ID. My mail ID is amitsingh0105 at the rate of gmail.com. So in case of any concern or any question, you please free to ask your doubts. And if you like this class, so please like this the session, which you can see the like button at the end, and subscribe to my channel, so that whenever I come up with new class uh, updation, you can get to know very easily. So I hope that you enjoyed and you learned something from this class. So with that intention, it's time to say goodbye to all of you. Thank you everyone. God bless you. Bye.